Hello YouTubers, BuckRun11 here. I've been watching a lot of machining videos on YouTube, trying to learn a little bit more, and I've been picking up a whole lot of cool tips and ideas. I want to say that I bought all this, I might have said it before, I bought all this machinery from a guy who was moving into a smaller place, and I got a real good deal on my machine shop. I've had no training in how to use it. I've done a lot of woodworking, and I kind of think of things like I was cutting wood, but you gotta cut a lot thinner, of course, or be a lot more careful. But I'm really starting to learn a lot more on the machining. And a lot of those guys have just recently done shop tour videos, and I've had some interest in it with my friends that I talk to on Skype, like AZ Papa Les. And so I thought I'd do a shop tour video, but I'm going to break it up into sections of my shop, and if the interest stays there, I'll keep going. But today I'm going to do a video here on this is the south end of my shop. You're looking east. That door goes out to the east towards my house, and I just figured I'd start right here and do this little square in here because I've got it kind of in sections. Normally my ATV's sitting right here, and then I got a snowblower this time of year. It's December 14th, yeah. So let me grab my holy crap. That's some good coffee, cup of coffee. First of all, I'm going to start right up here above my head. Can you see those three? I think you can see them, the three hubcaps. Well, there's also a little key hanging there. In 1976, my grandpa bought me my first car. It was a 1964 Chevy 2. And those are the three hubcaps that were on it because I had 13 14s on it. So I kept the hubcaps. And that little tag there, I don't know if you can see it, the original tag that was on the key at the dealership, and the original keys hanging there. I just can't get rid of stuff like that. And of course I got some lucky horseshoes there. This wall up here is what I call my antique tool wall. I hang up a lot of antique tools up there, and I'll show you those. This is the cart that I wheel in right here because my mill is right there, and it's got a lot of stuff that I would use on the mill. So I'll have it parked right here. And straight above us is where I've got that hoist where you've seen me skin deer, and the drain in the floor, and the two, let me show them to you. I've got the drain in the floor, and I've got one of those there and one in equal distance over there on the other side. And there's an eye bolt right there, and that's how I hook deer to the floor, and then I raise it up with the hoist, and that's how I skin them. But that's another part of the video, I guess. You will find that most of my machining work and my woodworking, most of it, is going to be geared towards either hunting, fishing, shooting, reloading, or just guns in general, because that's my real hobby. And the reason I got the shop, the metalworking, was try to become my own gunsmith. And I've got a lot of projects, and like I'm working on that bullet swaging press, and then my next project is going to be a lead hardness tester, and I want to try to figure out how to make one of those because I cast a lot of bullets, as you have seen. But let's see, do I want to carry the camera? Not yet. let's go to this corner over here. We'll start up there. There's some old cross-cut saws and a broad axe and an adze and some other old tools. Most of those, one of those big saws, cross-cut saws, belonged to the guy I bought the shop from. The other stuff belonged to my father-in-law and his father. So that's where most of that stuff came from. Then let's swing down here. This is the surface grinder right here. This goes with the cut-off saw here. But this is my surface grinder. Up again. I cleaned it up when I first got it, but I haven't really used it yet. It's been sitting here. I've used it a little bit, but it's not set up right. I am going to have to indicate this vise in and shim it to get it square with the spindle on the grinder, and then I will have to grind the top of the vise. It's a magnetic vise, and just to get everything square with that spindle. And I just haven't done it yet. What you do is you throw this over, and that will lock that on there, and then this runs you in and out, and this runs you back and forth, and that's how you grind something. But I just need to spend some time with this and get it all set up correctly. I got an air compressor back here. I really need a bigger, more powerful and quieter one, but it does the job for what I do. It's just not powerful enough to run my sandblaster unit, which is down here. Can you see that? Yeah, I think you can see it, that red. Then I've got my cut-off saw here. It's just a little tiny one. I didn't know how much I'd use it when I bought it, and now that I've got it, when this thing burns up, I'm going to buy the next size bigger, just because it's very useful. I use it all the time. I've got a chart on the wall here that's covered up with hoses and cords, but it's fractioned in decibel and millimeter and all that chart to help out with the machining. And the whole time I'm spinning you around, you'll probably see old on the wall. This is my mill. It's a mill drill. It works pretty well for what it is, but it can be a pain in the butt. I sure would like to eventually get a knee mill, like a Bridgeport or something, but right now I just can't afford it. It does have power feed on it, which helps. You can turn this knob and adjust the speed of it. Just barely creeping along. Or you push this button here, and that just bypasses it in fast speed. The problem I have with this, if you don't get set up high enough and low enough, I mean, you got to be set just within your tolerance of what this at, and I don't like to run it completely extended out because it just seems like that would be a weaker thing. So I try to keep it as low as I can, but high enough to get all the work done. And sometimes you'll find, oh no, now I got to put my drill chuck in, and your drill chuck eats up a bunch of your space, and then a drill bit, now you're not high enough, so now you got to loosen the bolts, crank this crank, raise it up. Well, that is on a round spindle, and as soon as you loosen those bolts, this head can swing around like that, so you've lost everything on your locations. So then you got to all over again before you can start. So that's why this is kind of a pain. If they made them with square spindles, which I think they do now, then it wouldn't spin on you. So it works really well for what I do. I'm glad I've got it, but I would like to upgrade. And then if we swing on over a little farther, whoops. The place I work, we do a lot of cutting of steel with the big power bandsaws, and we have a lot of drops. And if the drops aren't a certain length, they get scrapped. And if they get scrapped, I can buy them at a very reasonable price compared to what you go buy a piece like this for at Lowe's or Home Depot or someplace like that. I'm paying, well, 18 cents a pound is what I pay. And it's very reasonable, and I'm trying to stock up. So these are mostly all my square rectangles and stuff like that, and some tubing back there. There are some hot roll and cold roll rounds in here, but not very much. I've got that over by my lathe. Let me shut the camera off a second and move some stuff around and then show you what's on over here. Okay. Remember the steps from my grandpa's ladder? I have a machine here that I've been building. I haven't worked on it in the last 4 or 5 years, probably 4 years. I just haven't taken the time to work on it. But this is a machine that I want to build that I will be able to drill, ream, and rifle my own barrels. And the guy that I saw the plans from built match quality rifle barrels on his. This is the spindle. When you're drilling and your barrel inside of here, these work as like a 4-jaw chuck on a lathe. I have to make a big spindle for this end to spin it, but that's what you use to spin it to drill and ream. And then this is the carriage that will be riding in and out with the drilling and reaming process and the rifling process. And you can't see it, but there's a 3/4 tin, I believe that's what it is, can't remember offhand, piece of all thread that this will attach to. Then there will be a motor on this end, and that's what will drive it forward and back. And then you'll be able to unlock it from that when you're doing the rifling process, which I have a crank right here. That will mount on the end of this. It's through there, and it have chain drive, and that's how I will drive the carriage in and out. And I've got a whole bunch of parts in here. Right here's, I was going to try lost foam casting. I'm going to cast to make the spindle for the end, because you need 2 different sizes. But I have a whole bunch of parts through here for that. Under the table I have shorter pieces of different kinds of steel. Right here, this is a bead blaster. I've got glass beads in it. And then I have a piece of pegboard that runs the full 40-foot length of the shop that only comes down at about 16 inches or so. But I've got stuff hanging all the way down through there. Let me move the camera again. Okay, down in here there are billets of aluminum, scrap aluminum, different thicknesses and sizes of aluminum to melt down to make castings. There's 5-gallon buckets back in there of different kinds of casting sands. I've got, if we swing over here, okay, I'm going to try to hold the camera to make it a little easier to see what I'm talking about. Right in here are different kinds of casting sands and things to put in the sand to make it a smoother casting. I've got, I think that's basswood for carving out different kinds of patterns. On top of that, I've got a hydraulic cylinder. Right here's the control for in and out and a filter. I'm in the process of gathering up everything I need to build a hydraulic press. And let's see, down in here there's another cylinder sitting there. This is a thickness planer for wood, and I've got a joiner right here. Let's come over here. This is the tank that I've got that I'm going to use for the hydraulic fluid for my hydraulic press. Parts cleaner back in there. Here we got a buffer. Another air compressor. Buried in here, this is a 8/35 wide flange beam. I'm going to burn it down the center between the two sides and could get another piece 2 foot long and do the same thing to it for the top and the bottom, and then that will be my frame for the hydraulic press that I'm building. It's kind of just buried back in there waiting on the rest of the stuff. I've got a shelf there with a bunch of my trapping supplies and the different things I use for machining, V-blocks and stuff like that. Bullet casting. Those red things right there are for working on chainsaw chains. And then it just gets less interesting the lower you go. This is a little jeweler's lathe that I got at a garage sale. Thought I'd be fun to mess with that, making little parts or working on little parts. Let me move it over here. This, I hope I can get it off there. Here's my small granite surface plate for checking parts. Bandsaw material. This part down here in this box is pretty cool. Let me shut the camera off a minute and get it out of there. This is a homemade or shop-built dividing head. That's a bunch of different cutters for making gears. And these are different plates for dividing. And just all different kinds of, that's a reamer, different kinds of things that go with it. I have no clue how to use it. I'm hoping to figure that out here by watching these videos. And here's the chart. Okay, here's the back side of that rack. It holds all my longer pieces of steel, and a table that I made to put these things on. This is a machine for sharpening like 10-inch table saw blades. This is my chainsaw chain sharpener. And let me get this out of the way. At one time my wife wanted me to make some wrought iron type stuff, so I bought this system from Grizzly. These things go on, and you can, oops, gonna have to find that, I guess. You make different kind of scrolls. That's for making bends. And then there's a piece here on the back side. You can see the round part there, and this clamps it. That's for twisting, making twists in like 3/8 squares. That's what it's called. Let me find that piece I just dropped on the floor, or I'll forget all about it. Well, it wasn't too hard to find. Right there, I saw A-bomb Adam. Forget the numbers on the end of his title down there in Pensacola, Florida. In his machine shop, used something like that. Mine's just a cheap, but he had a really nice looking one. This will, right on this circle here, it'll swivel and give you different angles so you can mill an angle on your milling machine. A couple tires there from an old lawnmower that I'm going to use to make a trailer for my ATV to pull my kayaks. And here's the piece of tubing I'm going to use. It just seems like things get in the way of finishing my projects. There's a rack that goes on the back of the ATV when I was running a trap line. Nice fan. That works great when it's hot in here. Creeper. Air compressor my wife got me for Christmas one year. The blue one is for clamping things onto that angle plate, and the red one is for clamping things down onto the T-slots in the mill. Just make a quick run around here. There's some of my cutting fluid oil. Oh yeah. This is for ox tool. I went and picked up that, and there's my 3 little oilers with the thing I made to hold the brush so I can keep the lid on it, keep the dust out. Well, this is the first part of my crazy video of my shop. I'll try to edit it down so it makes a little sense. Right there are a bunch of spindles that came out of a house that was over 100 years old that they were going to burn down, and I got those spindles and the railing out of it. And the house where I used to live, I had to make a railing and use that railing and those spindles to do it, and it turned out real nice. And those are just ones I had left over. Well, that's that. Thanks for watching.